When I say to you Conklin when it comes to fountain pens, what are you thinking? Probably Jaffa brands and, where their big couple of brands are Monteverde and Conklin. Well, like these, let's say, I just pulled a couple out of the drawer at random, saw the All-American, and here you've got the herringbone. And I've had some issues with these. I've had a little issue with this with the nib. This one here, the herringbone, has actually been a great writer, fresh out of the box, and I kind of like them. But how about older stuff? Conklin's been around a long time. We're not talking about the reincarnation of the name, sort of like Esterbrook, where there was actually Esterbrook pens, and then the name was reinvigorated for another pen brand. But I recently picked up this right here. Look at that beautiful orange, or some would call it red hard rubber. But right around 1925 is where this particular pen comes from. I picked it up at antiquedigger.com, like I do a lot of my pens. And I got to tell you guys, if you're looking for something decent, you really need to go check out Antique Digger. And you really got to start using the discount code Troy at checkout. That'll actually get you cheaper pens when you're starting to look at getting something that's going to be old. It's going to be vintage. It's not like you're going to find with some of the big sellers, retail sellers of modern pens. You don't necessarily know what he's going to have. It's a matter of what he runs across and can refurbish and get out on the market. And I checked there a lot, and I found this particular one. I've got a few old Conklins, like crescent fillers, like the Conklin crescent filler that's out nowadays. Guys, it's basically the same kind of concept as was around with the original Conklin pen company. So, interestingly, you look at that clip, right? Conklin's design on the clip from 1925. And let's pull up the herringbone, and you can see some similarity with how they're doing it today. Just a little different, but it's the same idea. It's reminiscent of it. I'm not putting down the Jaffa brand's modern incarnation, but I actually enjoy antique as well as modern pens, as you can see by looking at my channel. So this particular pen is I'd say it's oversized. Not quite. It's large, but it's on the larger size anyway. And one of the things about it is it's got a stiffer nib to it. So this has got a nice old Conklin nib on it. And this particular nib is on the stiffer side. I'm not the kind of guy where I've got to have a flex nib. And I know that's real high on a lot of people's list. And I've got a lot of flex nibs. They're okay. They're fun to play with sometimes, and it's neat to get that variety in. But when I use pens, I want them to write, and write well. So I picked up this. This is the Senior Endura, like I said. So obviously it's a lever filler. You get a very short lever compared to what you're used to seeing on a lot of old pens, but it's actually very stylish looking. I enjoy that orange. Let me show you the video that I saw on Instagram of this particular pen when I was hunting my next purchase.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Antique Digger. I'm back again. This time I have a restoration on this circa 1925 Conklin Senior Endura, the largest one they made. This one has beautiful color on it. The blue banding in the middle is excellent. The clip shows just a little bit of wear, you can see, and the cap band has a little bit of wear at the top there. The lever arm is in excellent condition, no wear there. And we have Conklin Pen Company, Toledo, Ohio, Endura in the middle of the barrel. It's light, but it is there. We have a huge nib on this Conklin Endura. It writes with a very rigid fine to medium line 0.51 to 0.74 millimeters. This is a huge pen. These are very desirable. I'll have this one listed up shortly. Thanks a lot for looking.
Alright, so now that you saw what I saw, let's go ahead and pick her up and play with her. You know, it's got a fairly decent size section here, so if you've got bigger fingers, that would work well. But I know that pretty much anything I'm going to get from Antique Digger is going to be quality. So it does post. It posts very securely, and it gets to be very long and a little bit heavy. So this particular pen, it's not necessary to post because it is large enough. You know, like I said, some would say it's oversized, and I mean, I can see that. It's just a big chunky pen, and I rather like it. So let's go see how she writes. A Conklin Senior Endura. So there's your writing sample from 1925 circa. It is a stiff nib, no doubt about it. This is definitely a very rigid nib. But rather smooth. There is no doubt that it writes to me with a fine line. It's not a very wet writer, it's a fairly dry. See? And I put into this pen some Waterman Black. Matter of fact, I happen to have that bottle still within arm's reach. I never put it back on my shelf. I just have been leaving it to sit here for days on end because I got that pen, that ink with another pen. So Waterman Black ink. So I've been using this one a lot over the weekend, and every single time I picked it up to go use it and write with it, it's actually done fairly well. Like I said, it's not the wettest, and it's definitely not a whole lot of spring to it. You're not going to get line variation out of this thing. You're going to have to try if you really want it. I mean, you can get a little bit and get a little darker line if you apply just a little bit of pressure, but it's not meant to be flexible. It's not meant to be a whole lot of variation. It is meant to be, however, rigid. It's meant to be reliable. It's meant to be able to use on carbon paper and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's one of my latest additions, and it is the Conklin Senior Endura, circa 1925, antiquedigger.com. Go there, use a discount code Troy on your next vintage pen purchase.